Hey, what's up? This is Mark Lopes from Metal Church and Ross the Boss Band, and you are watching CMS TV. And all you people out there, keep it fucking metal.
And we are back, and I just want to say about that one, I played that one on purpose because I had an email or a message today on Facebook from a listener. And forgive me for not remembering who, but I had
a listener?
an email, a listener, exactly, not you, Eric, another listener that hit me up. And was like, yeah, exactly. They hit me up and they were like, hey, I want to buy an autographed copy of the book. Where can I get it? And unfortunately, I don't have any. I sold them out. I put them up like 3-4 months ago. I put up about 30 copies of books that I had, and they are gone. They have officially left the building. So I do not have any right now I guess I could order more, but no. I'll just say it the way it is. It's a pain in the ass for me to package them up. And you know what? If you want the books, you're just going to have to get them unautographed, and then you'll just have to find me at a show or something, and I'll sign them there. I'll sign them for free. But there you go. So that's
maybe on a cruise someday.
Yeah, maybe on that 10 million pounds of metal or whatever. Perfect cruise for me. So
that'd be kind of cool if you and me were brought on to host a cruise.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'd love to do that. I'd love to do it with you. I don't know that I would love to do it. See, I could get away with it, where you would have to be dodging everybody all the time. People would just say, oh, look, there's the fat guy, and that'd be it. Nobody would recognize me from anything. So I would be fine with that. So,
bro, like literally, like Exploder could go and be there for part of the time or something.
Yeah. Exploder could be causing trouble on the beach in Nassau or wherever the fuck you go. So, all right, let's get into this topic. Came up last week, and you watched last week's show, so you saw it. But I'm going to play it again for people. This Ace Frehley thing, you saw this, right? John tried to answer the question of how the fuck could this happen. To my satisfaction, it was not answered. You know, let me play the clip, and then me and you will talk about it. You, as a guitar player, could certainly talk a whole lot more sense than I could last week. So here it is. Let me pull this up here. What is this? Derek Sherinian. There we go. So this is the clip of last week. Ace Frehley playing Detroit Rock City. Now, you saw it. I saw it. Has this ever happened to you?
Where everybody sounds like they're all out of tune a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, certainly I've had tuning issues and blunders, and I'm by no means a perfect performance record guy in my life, but that was pretty gnarly hearing that.
Well, I must have got so many emails and messages about this 30-second clip. People were saying everything from they were in tune, but Ace fell off the frets the way, so like he slid down or up on the frets or something, and he was in the wrong place. I got emails that said he's clearly on the junk. I got stuff saying he was drunk out of his mind. I got stuff saying that he was in tune and the other guys were out of tune. I literally got every combination of it being fucked up it could possibly be. So I wanted to ask you, someone that's in a band, someone that gets up and plays well-known solos. Yeah, the round and round solo, well-known solo. You're in Love, well-known solo. Way Cool Jr. You know, these are well-known. How could this happen on songs? You know, Ace Frehley has played Detroit Rock City probably every gig of his life, 5,000 gigs. How does this happen?
I don't know. I think we tried to ask Scott that because we just saw Scott and he was at that show.
Okay.
But I wasn't able to like figure it out. Like he started giving an explanation for a totally different time that there was a problem with the performance. And I didn't want to push it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It seemed like they've just moved forward. You know what I mean? That there's times where, you know, maybe Ace has a bad day, but there's times where he has a great day. And I mean, he's getting up there. I mean, these are some of the last years to see these guys doing rock shows. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
well, I'm not saying don't go. I'm just asking the question of, and I'm not even trying to ask if it's common. I'm just trying to ask, does it happen? Does it happen where you can't hear your monitors, say, and you're 2 frets too low on your guitar and you're playing clunky like this?
That is, yes, I'll say. Like, certainly I could walk like 5 feet to the right. I'm generally on stage left. I could walk 5 or 10 feet to the right and not hear my guitar at all anymore. You know what I mean? So if I'm like going center stage to do a lead, it's possible that I'm not going to hear it perfect or at all. There's points like that round and round lead where Johnny and I are supposed to come up to the center together to play the harmony lead. And there's times where if he left his spot, he wouldn't be able to hear it all. So he couldn't. This show, I think I ran the gamut of everything your people said. You know, it almost sounded like Ace was playing it right. And the bass was sticking out to me as kind of being wrong, but maybe Ace was just like a whole step off, and then the other guitarists couldn't tell exactly what Ace was doing wrong. So at one point he tries to switch his thing up a half step and realizes that ain't it. And then he goes back down to the other, but when he goes back down, that's when the whole song does modulate. So it started, it was funny though, because it looked like a Shreds video, because you got to give kudos to the one guitarist, because he was up there just like, hey man, sounds great to me. Right?
He was definitely playing the game.
That's a pro. He's a pro.
Sure. Well, and these guys are pros.
It's hard
they're definitely professional guys. I mean, obviously Coogan is a straight up pro, and isn't it Ryan Clark is the bass player, and he was in Hair of the Dog back in the day. And I'm not sure who the other guitar player is, but you know, I know that collectively those 3 guys were in that The Residency or whatever it's called, that is Gene Simmons's backing band too, right?
Correct. It was Gene's band, and Gene actually approached Ace and said, "Hey, you should be using my guys."
Yeah.
And that's how Scott wasn't, I don't think, playing with them anymore, or the Chris Wise. I mean, a lot of those guys moved on to better gigs, like Chris Wise, who had been in the Cult and bands like that. Right. He's now playing in that Hollywood Vampires gig.
Right.
Which is pretty high profile. You know, they're playing amazing shows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna play this clip one more time, because to me, and again, I'm saying it for me, it sounds like they're all 3 out of tune, and it sounds like it sounds like they're clanking around because none of them recognizes what the other one is doing. That's what I took away from this. So let's play it one more time, and then you tell me if that's indeed the case here. Here we go. Put it on the screen. all out of tune?
Definitely the other guitars, his guitar sounds a little out of tune to me. And I don't know, maybe it's the way the bass player was like fingering the notes maybe, and he was like a little out of tune perhaps. I did get out of him that the whole band tunes like a whole step down.
Right.
That I did hear.
Sure.
But definitely, and I hate saying any of this stuff because it sucks because I'm a performer and I don't want to jinx.
Sure. Well, I'm not trying to get you to shit on anybody. I'm just trying here. I mean, here's where the question comes from. Just to put total clarity on the line. I must have got 25 messages from people claiming that they were at this show.
Okay.
And those people all said it sounded fine except for this moment.
Sure.
Like they were playing well and they just got lost amongst the three of them. And my question is, as a musician, does that happen?
It can happen. Most recently, I think Matt had some issue where we went out to play a song and his bass string was like way out, but I think with his earplugs he didn't hear it.
Okay.
And that was like a whole song like that. So we're like, hey, nudge him, hey, tune that thing up, and we got it. It does happen. It's a live show, so they are real guitars.
Right.
Sometimes we got to change the strings if you're on tour. Like I just did 4 shows and my drop D guitar, I didn't change the strings on because we only play like 3 songs a night with that one. So that one I used for all 4 shows. The other one I did, I think, one last show on the strings that were on it, and then I changed the strings and did the next 3 shows. Okay. But there's these, when you do a string change, it requires a lot of stretching, and sometimes you don't have the time for it.
Sure.
You got the gig, and you could be a little off. The guitar could get a little off, out of tune. They're playing Les Pauls. They don't have like a locking system on them.
Okay.
I used to, when I played a Les Paul, I used to struggle with the tuning. I was having to like tune that guitar, especially playing the Rat songs on them. I felt like I had to tune that guitar every couple songs.
Right.
Now I use those Charvels. They have the locking system, and I spend hours getting that shit straight. But it usually stays pretty good for the whole show. I haven't had to like tune my guitar during the shows in some time now. But these guys are using the Les Pauls. They're tuned down pretty far, so the guitar is already not at the correct tension that it should probably be. That's going to add to it a little bit. You have other factors, the room with the temperature in there. So I think it sounded.
I was going to ask you, what about the heat?
Yeah, it does, man. Like, heat, cold, they all make the neck do weird stuff, and it can happen. Everybody could get a little off. It might have been time to tune up, but that sounds about right. That this was just one unfortunate section that ended up being a legendary train wreck.
Yeah. And you can thank Derek Sherinian for putting it out there, because he put it out there, and man, he took a bunch of heat for putting it out there, because Ace has some. The Kiss Army is not very forgiving, that's for sure. So he was taking much shit from lots of fans. I saw your buddy Alex Grossi took a punch at him, not a punch, but a verbal punch at him about, dude, it's just rock and roll, man. And it's like, ugh. My only answer to that is, man, if I paid $75, $85, $100 to see Ace, and I got that on one of the songs that clearly you paid to see, you go see Ace Frehley, you want to see Detroit Rock City, you want to see Rip It Out, and you want to see New York Groove. There's just certain songs that are part of the reason you're paying. Nobody's paying because they want to hear that new song from the Ace Frehley Space Invader record. They want to hear the Kiss tunes. And man, to blow. I mean, and even that song, I don't know where it was in the set, but it either opened or closed. It's Detroit Rock City. They're not playing that 4 songs in, right?
I have no idea, man. To be honest,
Well, I mean,
we've played shows with Ace, and it was with the old lineup with Chris Weiss and Coogan, and they were always really awesome and cool. And I haven't even seen this lineup play live to give my, I'm not going to base my judgment of the band off this one train wreck video from one night. You know what I mean?
And I don't think anybody should. I mean, bottom line is, if you like Ace, you better go see him, because he's 135 years old. You know, he's not going to have too many more years of doing it, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah. Or Steven, for that matter. It's like, it gets to the point where it's really the thing's a giant meet and greet anyway, if you think about it. It's like the final lap meet and greet of, you're going to come out, and as an added bonus, the band's going to play, and Ace is going to do his best to do the songs. Sure. For a 77-year-old guy, or
I mean, he's got to be near that. I don't know how old he is. Let's see, how old is he?
He looks great though, man. He looks thin. Whatever he's got going on up here, the hair thing looks good.
He looks. I mean, he looks like he hasn't fallen apart.
No,
that's for sure. No. You know, none of those Kiss guys really fell apart. They're all in pretty decent shape. He's 72.
Oh, okay.
So, but still, how many of your grandfathers are out there still playing? An hour.
No, my grandparents did not live that long, let alone playing rock concerts. So.
That's right. I think my grandfather died at 74. So it's not like he was going to be out there rocking. He was rocking a chair. That's what he was rocking.
Yeah, I think people. Not to say people should lower their expectations or anything when they go to see these really old guys, but you can't hold them in the same regard as you did back in their heyday. Everybody.
See, I'm a little bit yes and no on that. I agree with you that I think holding them to that standard is ridiculous, because you're not going to get that. That being said, if they're charging more than they used to charge in the day, I think you should hold them to a standard of something at least. Right. And it should be better than that. Admittedly, that we just saw was only 30 seconds of a 90-minute concert. So, in the grand scope, if that's all it was, and then they found their tuning and played through, which is what a lot of people emailed me this week and said happened, then okay, fair enough. But, man, again, if you dropped $100, and, a lot of people are hurting right now financially. If this is the only show you could see all year, and Ace played 4 songs sounding like that, you'd be like, what the hell?
Well, I'll tell you this. I bet there's a lot of guys that are over 50 that have got to a point in their life where they have money, and to spend $500, get a ticket to the show, get to actually get a photo with Ace, get some signed swag with it and stuff. They would totally do that. And they do.
Would they be disappointed if they caught that kind of nonsense? You don't think so?
Think so. No, I think they're just excited to be there. I mean, if the whole show was a disaster and Ace wasn't, falling all over the place and they didn't get a show, that would be lame. But I think he's always apparently delivered pretty much at least an okay gig, a couple hiccups maybe.
And I mean, the proof is in the pudding with the other bands too. Like Wasp was out there on tour. I mean, they were down to playing 9 songs at some of those shows for some of those people were paying a few, like $500-800 with the meet and greets and stuff. And they
Did you guys talk?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say that. Did you guys talk about Wasp canceling their tour?
No, we did not yet. We didn't talk about it last week. We can talk about it certainly, but that kind of plays right off of this. Blackie was out. He gave a show, but it was him sitting. Those last few gigs in the European market, he did them. He reworked that stupid mic stand into a chair,
like an actual motorcycle seat.
Yeah, and he sat.
Okay.
He sat and played the gigs, which all right, I guess that's okay. I guess, but yeah, when it came down to the U.S., was it the U.S. tour he canceled? 2024 tour? Yeah, he's not going to play it because his back's too fucked up. And, I mean, another guy, he's probably in his 70s, close to, if not, he's in his 70s. And it's like, dude, he just doesn't have it anymore. You know, and even that tour, he's playing to tracks, he's singing over tracks. That's never good. You know. Let me ask you about that too. And I do not, and I'm going to overly stress this to you, because I do not want to cause you any problems on the road.
Sure.
But have you, in the last year, played shows with any bands, and do not mention who, that are using tracks?
Yes.
Do they acknowledge it to their fans, or do they pretend it ain't happening?
I couldn't tell you if the band I'm talking about acknowledges it publicly. But certainly anyone that's at the sound checks can, hear these things happening. And,
Right.
And they're not as bad as I remember Wasp being. I remember Wasp has everybody vacate the whole place. He's like the extreme other way, where he really wants to keep the mystique there about it. And he really just wants to put on a good show, Blackie, at the end of the day. But, I always, this has been going on for over 25 years, probably.
Right, sure.
And I think that's been going on with Kiss.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
A lot of these nostalgic bands have been doing other things to kind of keep the show as good as they can get it, so they can charge that money. And
I'm only going to put this up so that you can deny it.
Okay. Definitely not us.
I was going to say, Steven puts it out there. Whatever he's doing that day, that's what you're getting that day. I know that to be true. If Steven was playing to tracks, he had some bad tracks for a lot of shows that weren't his best.
The newest one was Cardi B. Did you see Cardi B?
I did, where they threw something at her. She threw the microphone at him. And the music kept going.
Yep. That's lame, because in the pop world, that woman gets a lot of airplay.
Oh,
she's
tons.
All over the radio, and has been for some time. And to know that she's a total phony like that bums me out.
Well, let me ask this, dude, because I think we might be on different ends of the spectrum here. I have said on CMS a ton, and I get flack every time, so I'll just prepare to get shit on again right now. I'm okay with tracks. If a band, I would rather see a good show than a bad show but true performance. I don't want to see a bad, I'll use AC/DC as an easy one. There's times that Brian Johnson sounds terrible. There's just times that he doesn't sound good. He's gotten older, doing that voice for 40 fucking years, or however long he's been doing it. It's worn out. That being said, if they were using tracks, I'd be fine with it, because I'm there to see the show. I'm there to see the bigness of the show, and I don't want to hear "Back in Black, I hit the sack, I went too long, I get to be back." I don't want to hear that. I just don't. If I'm paying for that money, I want to see the bigness of the show. I want it to sound good. I want to see the explosions. I want to see the blow up Rosie in the back. I want the epicness of it. And I personally will accept that. I'm fine with it. I'm not fine with Wasp charging me $150 to do a club show and then doing backing tracks on top of it. And I know that's kind of me talking out both sides of my mouth, but it's a club show. So I think you should give me a club show, dirty, sweaty vibe. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm okay. Like Kiss, I'd be fine. I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I would be okay with Kiss, because I don't want. Kiss is a show. Kiss is not so much a concert as a show. Kiss is every bit as much about the risers that go 100 feet in the air, and the flames and the spitting blood and the swords and all that other shit, right? And smashing the guitars. If they got to put tracks on Paul Stanley so that it's tolerable, I'm okay with it. Yes. Where are you?
Well, I disagree because I
Okay.
think singers should be able to change the way they sing it. Like
Okay.
they should take certain steps that we've seen, like tuning down. Tune
Right.
down if it's a little easier for you. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Also, just changing the melody lines around a little. Talk to you could Steven does that on some stuff. If he can't hit the note, he's found ways to like give a little swagger and kind of hunter,
Right.
talk his way through it where it's still cool. Like, I mean, you have to know as a singer your limits. If you're not, you have to have like alternate things you're going to do. If you don't think you're going to be able to like hit the notes that night, maybe you have a alternate melody line you could do that's not so harsh on you.
Right.
Or just repeat the lower one and don't go to the high version of it at the last chorus. I don't know. Just little things.
Well, and I agree with you if they do that, but a lot of these bands don't. That's wherein lies the problem. Like a Kiss. Kiss still plays, I mean, for the most part, they still play in the same key that they wrote the songs. Maybe a half step down, but not way down.
I'd also like to add that like the iconic people should always have backup singers helping them along.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's kind of always been that way, especially the old live TV performances in the 50s and 60s. Like they always had like 10 people on the stage helping sing and making the choruses sound great. But we're stoked right now because, I mean, Johnny sings, Coogan sings, I sing backup. So he's got at least 3 people, and we're working to improve on that too.
Sure.
So people can expect that to get better.
Is it okay? And I'll use Steven as a direct example here. Or no, I won't, because I do not want to do that. Let me use a different example. I don't want to cause any piercing problems. Let me use a different example.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is it okay if I'll use Dokken as an example? So Don, 1,000%, and he knows this too, so it's not like I'm shitting on him. He can't hit those high notes anymore. He can't, he's just not going to those notes anymore. Is it acceptable if instead of him doing those notes, when you come to the into the fire, to that part, if the bass player sings it or the guitar player sings it, is that acceptable? Is that more acceptable than just a track hitting the note?
I do. And I know we were going to skip talking about us, but we do that a little bit. I think,
Okay.
like for example, the beginning of Wanted Man.
Yeah.
Like I think on the recording, Piercy's like, yeah. It's like way up there, And Scott, I hear Scotty do it sometimes when we come out and play, but you hear it. You hear it coming out. He's good for that. He has a good high range, Scott. So he does hit some of that stuff that maybe those notes that haven't been done in over a decade or two.
Well, but they're iconic. As weird as this sounds, that one little note, anything about popular music is nuance. It's the little tiny, dude, how often have you seen a show where there's a replacement guitar player and he plays it like 95% note for note, but then he plays one little tiny part, maybe 2 bars he plays his own way, and immediately online you'll be like, this guy fucking sucks. He can't play the way George Lynch played it. It's like, dude, he's not George Lynch. He learned it a different way.
Or there's some guitar players that are really good and they just refuse to do it the exact same way, including the guy himself, might change it up a little bit. We've talked about Warren DeMartini. He always does great stuff, but he's a great player and he can do things a little different. I guess it's allowed if it's him. If you're watching a cover band do it, you would expect definitely for the guy to nail the solo exactly the way it goes.
Well, sure. Mm-hmm. But I do think and I mean, I've seen it with you personally. You don't always play you play most of the track. I mean, I've seen you play. You play most of the tracks pretty damn close. But there's a couple of tunes that I think you kind of either, and I don't know why, maybe it's just easier or maybe it's it leads because you play the riff different. Maybe you play the lead so that your hands end up in a different spot when you go back to the riff. I don't know why. I'm not a guitar player. But I know when you do that, all the dickheads on YouTube are instantly like, see? This is why we need a Rat reunion with Warren, because this guy can't play the songs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't scour YouTube looking at comments and stuff, to be honest. And there's, no matter what performance there is out there, there's going to be people that say shitty things.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And there's going to be people that just don't like you or me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care about those ones. I care about the people that do like me, and I show up for them, and they're excited to see us play. I'm never going to please everybody, and I've
Sure.
let that go a long time ago. And I've actually become so much better than I ever was. I don't know if you could pull this up today, but on my Facebook, I posted a picture of me at 15 years old playing my first guitar.
Find it.
And I almost get choked up seeing it, because I've come so far since then.
Right.
I mean, it's just a goofy. You could tell I was a little dork.
Let's stop that. I can pull it right up here. Give me 1 second here. Share screen, and then we got what is this? Facebook. And
so, anyways, I know
young Erik.
I know how far I'm. Yeah.
Look at that guy with all the hair and stuff.
Got like the Eddie Van Halen hairdo, kind of.
Do you still have that amp?
No, I don't know what happened to that. People were asking me. I've determined it was a Crate G60.
Okay.
Amp, little combo amp, and then I had a Fender Strat. Was my first electric that I bought. Those might be LA Gear high tops.
Jordache stonewashed jeans.
Yeah, those are definitely the acid wash black jeans. Those are kind of all right.
What's
That's a Slayer shirt.
Is that a Slayer shirt? Okay.
That's a Slayer South of Heaven shirt.
Nice.
The Root of All Evil one you've probably seen. It's got like a really scary looking demon guy on it.
Right.
And I thought that shirt was really fucking cool back then. I don't know.
Where's your mom yelling at you for making all that noise in her house?
Yeah, I mean they thought it was cute that I, play it, but they were not wanting me to like go try to be a rock guy, which it was a pretty crazy aspiration. I mean, when you look at me here, I can understand why I specifically remember my dad saying to me, if you try to do that, you're going to be living under a bridge. And I was kind of hurt they didn't, believe in me at the time as much as I believed in myself, who could hardly play that guitar back then. I was still just learning. But I didn't end up living under a bridge. I'm happy to report. I live.
Well, I did. I mean, look. Yeah. Did you luck into and I say the word luck on purpose. Did you luck into one of these bands that had the mega hit, the I Remember You or the More Than Words or whatever? No. But have you made a career playing music? Yes. How many people can say that? How many people can say that? Not many.
True. I would like that though. I mean, I that is an aspiration of mine. I've made some cool songs with Steven that people like on the records, but I would, even if it's not with Steven, be a part of some song that's like an iconic song to some level that I got one in there. I made an actual contribution that reached a lot of people versus a small niche of, people. I do aspire to do that, and even if another artist ends up doing the song at some point, it'd be cool to do that, and I have the second half of my life to make that happen, so I'll keep trying. Here my memory of this was the foyer of our home in Carlsbad, and this was the house across from Steven's place, so I was
nice
soon to meet Piercy, like probably the following year. Right. But I would stick my amp right here because I'd get a good like reverb. It was like a concert hall, like in that spot in the house. But usually that amp would be,
and you're sitting on it, so it'd give you a little ball rub, so you'd be like, yeah.
Oh, I'd be sitting there mostly playing like thrash metal stuff. I'm probably playing Master of Puppets
Right.
right there. So that was kind of cool when Stranger Things came out and they brought back those songs. I'm probably the same age as what those kids would have been in the
Yes.
80s.
Yeah. Well,
And the
dude, it's
characters
cool.
in the show.
It's cool to see, and it's cool to remember that stuff. And here, interesting question for you: do you wish that social media would have been around then? Because then you'd have just tons of video of you, when you were learning. Do you wish that you had that, or are you glad you don't?
There is probably video somewhere. My mom's given me stuff that she's pulled off of VCR tapes and puts it on a
Okay.
drive. And at some point I probably will, but it wasn't something I was ready to celebrate quite yet. But I think my mom had handed me this picture like a year ago.
Okay.
And I think I needed to see it because it's like a little reminder of,
Right.
look, you've really come a long way. Who cares what these other people say?
Well, here's
And
our homework, dude, and not for this week, but for maybe after the summer, once your schedule settles down. Your homework is to get some of that video of you as 15, 16, 17 years old playing guitar. My homework, I'll take the hit too, so that if we're gonna play stuff of us sucking, we can both do it. I have video of me when I was, I think, 18. It was when I first year in Korea, and this cover band came over on a USO tour, and they brought me up on stage to sing like 4 or 5 songs. And there's this video of me singing like Poison, Nothing But a Good Time, and Pour Some Sugar on Me, and and I'm doing the whole thing. I'm doing, rocking the fuck.
oh, you're into it.
I'm way into it. So I'll find that video and I'll get it converted over to digital, and you get some video of you, and we'll do a show one night where we just play these embarrassing videos of us when we were young. At least you turned into a player. I should have known when I first saw these videos that I was horrible and given it up. But I
Right.
kept trying to write songs and stuff for years, and I just sucked.
Well, I think anything, you just got to keep doing it. I mean, are you going to tell me you've only written 2 books and that was the only time you ever pulled a pen out and wrote anything?
Dude, truth be told, the first book I ever wrote in my life was Call Me Chris. I wrote when I was going through the burn accident. I will tell you, I wasn't even a good writing student. I was failing out of English class in high school. I was terrible at writing. I was the worst. That is just a skill that, I don't know, the accident or whatever just put into my head and made me good at is writing. But, as far as music though, dude, the only song I've written 2 songs complete in my entire life. One of them is called Steps, which is really lousy. I wrote it when I was 15 years old. I still remember it. We're all steps in a ladder. If we don't climb it, we just don't matter. I mean, it was fucking terrible. I still remember the lyrics, and it was god awful. And then the only other song I've ever written in my life was that Scars tune that I did for CMS, 5 years ago or whatever. The one where I sound like what's his name, the Man in Black, Johnny Cash. You've heard that, haven't you? I'll walk right through the fire. That one. That
Nice.
But that's it. I tried from time to time, but I suck. I just would. There's some people that are good at it. There's some people that can craft words together, and it's just so cool. Then there's guys like me that write a line, and then before I even try to make something that makes sense, all I end up doing is saying, well, that line ended with fire. What rhymes with fire? Higher. Mm-hmm. What can I do to fill it in so it ends with higher? I'm the worst. I stink at it. I don't have that skill at all. You have that skill. You definitely have that skill.
There's there's lots of people that have that skill. Some have, an ever-present skill like that, where they just fart out like new songs every day.
Right.
For me, I mean, the tap goes dry like it does for a lot of other people, where you get a creative drought or you just have a lot of other things going on in your life. But sometimes that's good. It's like to have a break and live some life and have some emotions and have something to write a song about. I've probably co-written more songs than I've written completely on my own, to be honest. It's a lot easier for me to provide music to a singer and maybe just help with a word here or a verse or part of a verse. I had my own, Steven had convinced me to lead sing in my own band, which was called the Anti-Division. And we opened for Piercy. And that was one of the first times I was like writing the music and trying to write the words. And it's also like a personal thing when you're trying to be serious about it and you put yourself out there and you're doing these words and you don't know if people are going to think it sucks or laugh at you, or whatever, but you got to be strong and keep doing it. Most of the songs I have are co-writes with Piercy, which you're going to be going after for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overseas.
Of course, we're going to find that money, but let me answer this question real quick, and then we'll bring on Bruce here in a minute. We'll play a couple of spots, and then Bruce is waiting in the wings patiently. Sorry, Bruce, we're yapping. But Jackal wrote, I thought Jan, who's a guy from Finland, wrote Scars. Jan wrote the music. Jan wrote all the music. I hated his lyrics that he had written, so I scrapped them completely, and I rewrote the lyrics completely. And then it went from there to Tommy Crash, who plays with Ripper and Brittany Fox and whatever. Then he got involved and kind of reworked all the music with one of the guys in Death and Matt Nardo, who's played in a bunch of bands himself, and and then it turned into what Scars became. But yes, I guess technically Jan wrote the music to Scars. And then I rewrote it completely, as I rewrote the lyrics completely, because he's from Finland and some of his Finnish English didn't really make sense. And I had no connection to it to sing it. So I just scrapped it and I wrote it one afternoon and that was it. It's quick and easy. So, all right, but enough of that. Let's do this. I'm going to play a spot or two. And then we are going to bring on Bruce Sisk. Bruce has a very cool charity for those of you that are collectors, and we've seen from various guests that we've had on the show, whether it was Tony from Knucklebones or various people that have had things that they're giving away. We have definitely seen that we have a lot of collectors that listen to Chris Akin Presents. So Bruce is going to come on, talk a little bit about his charity and all the prizes all you collector people will love. So I guess I shouldn't call them prizes as much as auction items, I guess. But he's got a bunch of really, really cool stuff that you can bid on, and it goes to good cause. So we will come back. We'll talk all about that in just a couple of minutes. So hang tight. It is Chris Akin Presents.
With trucker strikes and rising inflation, food shortages are becoming a big, big problem. Don't let yourself get caught unprepared. Buy a food survival kit today from My Patriot Supply and save. Over 2,000 calories a day to keep you healthy and strong with a 25-year shelf life to ensure it's ready for you when the shit hits the fan. Go to www.bit.ly/CMSPNfood. Order your supplies today and invest in yourself and your family now before it's too late. www.bit.ly/CMSPNfood. My Patriot Supply.
UFM is underwear for men. UFM underwear provides unheard of support, which eliminates the need to adjust yourself throughout the day. This underwear is the perfect fit for work, athletics, or just day-to-day activities. Shop underwear for men now and never be uncomfortable in your drawers again. Shop online at www.bit.ly/CMSPN-UFM today. Underwear for men.